Renaud Picard bought the Glenlivet in 2001 with one goal. They wanted the Glenlivet to be the world's best-selling single malt. It was already the best-selling whiskey in the US, but it was miles behind its arch-rival Glenfiddich. How would they do it? By 2014, they tripled their sales. They sold 1,067,000 cases in 2014. In a year that Glenfiddich remained relatively consistent, they blew them out of the water. What's interesting though is that Glenlivet should have always been the best-selling single malt in the world. They quite rightly claim that they're the single malt that started it all. They were the first single malt from Speyside. So how did Glenfiddich even get the edge in the first place? In this video, we're going to talk about the history of Glenlivet. We make videos about whiskey to make it more accessible and more fun for you guys. And the best way that we can think to make whiskey accessible is by giving it away for free. Stick around until the end of this video and we'll tell you how you can enter to win a bottle of 18-year-old and 25-year-old Glenlivet. Glenlivet claims to be the single malt that started it all. Interesting brand message, but is it historically true? It's the kind of thing that sounds like it's just marketing, but in some ways, marketing is at the core of the Glenlivet story. Let's go back to 1824. None of the distilleries wanted to pay the government in order to make whiskey, so they were all making illegal moonshine. George Smith, the founder of Glenlivet, was the first distillery owner to decide to get a license. Glenlivet, therefore, became the first legal distillery, a move that made George Smith unpopular with his neighbors. They threatened to burn down his distillery with him still inside, and he carried around 2 pistols to make sure that no one got him inside his distillery. Well, he would go inside his distillery. He made sure that no one got him inside, tied him to a chair, and burnt the place down, which would have been a bad outcome for George Smith. He was making this legal whiskey, and all of a sudden, people really liked it, and it got a great reputation. In fact, it started to define the Speyside region. Its characteristic light, fruity style was the Glenlivet light, fruity style. And people started to make their own whiskey and use Glenlivet's name because it came across as a sign of quality. Obviously, Glenlivet wasn't too keen on that. They filed a lawsuit to protect and trademark their name. It resulted in hundreds of distilleries not being allowed to use the term Glenlivet in their own label. 10 were allowed to continue, but most importantly, Glenlivet became the Glenlivet, a trademarked name that they were able to sell their whiskey, their idea, their spirit around the world. It was one of only 2 distilleries to continue operation during the Great Depression, and once Prohibition was lifted in the United States, it won a lucrative deal to sell miniatures on Pullman coaches. That was how it was able to penetrate the US market and become so popular. Let's take a quick look at some of the key milestones in Glenlivet's history. Pretty cool, right? Now, we're giving away a free bottle of the 18-year-old and the 25-year-old from Glenlivet. It's totally free to enter. All you need to do is go over to DreamWhiskies.com. There are lots of different entry methods, and you're not limited to just one. My favorite entry method is becoming a Guardian of Glenlivet. This means that you get updates and information about new expressions of Glenlivet, and if you ever find yourself at the Glenlivet Distillery, you're able to go to the Guardian's Library, a secret area in the back of the distillery that's reserved, and it's really cool. We hope you enjoyed this video and you learned something interesting about Glenlivet. Let us know what you think of Glenlivet in the comments below, and remember to subscribe to our channel. We do new whiskey videos every week, and we give away a different whiskey every month. So make sure you ding the bell so you don't miss out.